Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Panerai Luminor Chronograph Tantalum PAM 192. You can see this remarkable 2004 limited series of 300 pieces and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of this screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this PAM 192. Now, the watch on my wrist represents one of my favorite Panerai chronograph references. In a world where the PAM 520 and the 163 also exist, I can't say this is my flat-out favorite, but on my wrist, in the heat of the moment, I might be tempted to make this commitment because the watch fits perfectly and it looks the business. It's a 44mm standard Panerai Luminor with the Betterini case that we've known and loved since 1993. It's not as thick as it looks. In profile, 15.2mm with a generously sloped conical bezel that represents almost 1/3 the width of the case. It does easily slide underneath dress cuffs in a fashion that is a little bit surprising, quite frankly. Not just your sport jackets and blazers, but true dress sleeves. The watch is also reasonably compact from Lug To Lug at only 53mm. This is a watch that a small wrist can wear. The big watch that wears small has been sort of a mantra for Panerai, again, since the origin of the species, not just in 1993 with the first civilian models, but going right back to 1936 and the first prototypes. Now, this Luminor is an easy watch to wear on my 16cm circumference wrist, and I think down to 14.5cm in circumference. Your wrist will wear it just as easily with the same appearance of proportion and security. I will say, however, that all in tantalum, with its gorgeous blue hue, the watch, eyes closed, feels like precious metal. Now, tantalum, far tougher than any gold in terms of scratch and scuff resistance, also has that beautiful blue hue. You can see the contrast with the polished bezel, also in tantalum. It's almost that there's a hint of purple, a hint of blue, cobalt. There's something in the metal that's almost mystifying. It's a hypnotic watch, yet so simple in shape and line. Now, continue into the strap, which is held in place by a traditional Panerai screw, so very strong, not just no spring bars to accidentally give way, but this makes strap swapping easy if you want to dress up your watch. You can see calfskin buttery smooth with a lightly contrasting stitch, light bolstering down the center and a folded edge, calfskin on the underside. There is an upscale, double deployant, twin trigger clasp. Now, this is something you rarely see on Panerai watches. In general, you're going to see a pin buckle, large or small. A full deployant is a sign of royalty in the world of Panerai. This is a special series watch with a special look and a special place in Panerai history, as it's effectively the chrono counterpart of 2003's PAM 172 Luminor. Between the two of them, the only tantalum watches Panerai has ever created in series. Rare and spectacular, you know this watch at a glance, but you also know at a glance that it's a Panerai Luminor, which means though it has many edition-specific features, it also has the same iconic profile. The fully encompassing, in this case, titanium and polished device protecting the crown, far more protection than standard shouldered crown guards. You have the same locking lever, a common-sense Panerai patented innovation that immediately gives you access to the crown, unlocking it for setting and winding, and relocking it simply by pushing down. Of course, it also acts as a danger flag. When it's up, you know your watch crown is unlocked. It's far easier with a screw-down crown to leave it unscrewed and jump into the water. This one helps you avoid accidental drowning, and you'll note the art inherent in the design, as Panerai designers managed to incorporate the chronograph pushers seamlessly into the flank of the case. Now, when I activate the chronograph, you'll see they work quite well with crisp actuation, and the movement inside is probably going to surprise you. Before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the dial. Now, we've talked about the case and the profile. It's a Luminor through and through. The dial is sausage style, which means thick luminescent luminova has been painted onto the dial for the indices and the Arabic numerals at 12 and 6. There's a tachymetric scale outboard that serves as a inboard transition from the height of the bezel to the plane of the dial, with the subregisters featuring a circular concentric guilloche and blue accented hands for chronograph and civil time functions. Turn it over, and underneath the case back, which you can see is G series, equivalent to 2004, is a, you ready for this? Lamagna 1872 bass, effectively the twin register version of the movement inside the Omega Speedmaster Professional. It's a rarely seen timepiece, quite rare in fact, doing business here as the Panerai caliber OP16. In fact, the twin register version of the Speedmaster is hardly ever seen, and the only other time I can remember seeing it in recent history was on the Vacheron Constantin Medicus chronograph, where it did business as the Vacheron Constantin caliber 1145. Tough as nails with a manual wind 48-hour power reserve, a crisp cam system that's one of the best I've experienced, and of course the toughness inherent in a movement selected specifically for space duty. It belongs in a watch inspired by military service. Of course, water resistant down to 200 meters, this watch retains its all-terrain capability. A rare and beautiful special series chronograph. You can see one of my favorites and own it on our website.